result, the cost escalated. Started at 150, as we've correctly indicated, to about close to 800 million. And then I think based on that contractual arrangement, we should not be able to get to $1 billion. With respect to the water tankers, we're no longer hiring water tankers. Past 2 financial years, Council resolved to buy its own water tankers. Last year it was 100. The year before it was 99. We are now deploying our own water tankers. It's about 263 of them in total that we have. We're deploying in various areas depending on the demand.
Okay, whilst you're looking at that, we're going to just check the members if there's anything that needs to be revised or to be added upon.
Chair, just one piece.
I'll give you the opportunity. We'll get all the other members, we'll all come back, but just round up so that you can come back.
Just want to say on the sexual allegation case, and as the mayor acted in terms of the disciplinary regulations for senior managers, that upon receiving a complaint, I must then take it to council. Council appointed council mandated me to appoint an independent.
Bring it closer to your mouth, we can hear.
Yeah. Council appointed me or delegated to me to appoint an independent investigator. I appointed the independent investigator. He's an advocate of High Court. He's also acting as a judge, especially in labor court. He was given 30 days in terms of the law within which to finish the investigations. And upon finishing the investigation, he submitted a report to me. I took it to council. Council accepted that report and it cleared the city manager of the allegations. Thank you so much.
Sorry, what was the allegation?
On sexual harassment.
Okay.
Correct.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, Mayor, we have an issue with this incorrect billing. I just want to take you to a matter that me and you have discussed over a while. It relates to Professor Reddy, who, because of this billing going up, has put up a second meter to actually check if your meter is correct. And in the one instance, you were indicating that your readings increased between October and February 2024. Between October 2024 and February, it sounded, at that time it was normal, and after that it went from 300 kiloliters to 900 kiloliters. And he said this is amount that's enough to fill a number of Olympic-sized swimming pools. Now, the problem is, when we raised the matter, what your team did, they came back and said they went to test the meter, if the meter was correct or faulty, but came back and said the meter was correct. The problem is that he's got a second meter that he's checking, and he's got a variance at that. Now, I'm worried that something has gone wrong here. So now I'm saying we need to find another way of verifying this matter. The matter was referred to the minister, and the minister came back with the information that you gave us, which is not different. So, but we know that the matter is not resolved. So I would like you to deal with that matter as a matter that it's not just a matter of saying, we've checked this and that's the end, because no one can explain the large volumes that are actually being charged. So I would like you to look back at that matter again. The issues that have been raised here, there's one problem. You keep raising the fact that you've got the highest informal settlement in the province, but in reality is, do we have a long-term plan to eliminate? And that is what we would like you to address us on. Now, please note that you'll come back with a response to that. I'm going to give each members here 1.5 minutes to deal with the issues that are not properly answered, or there's a follow-up. Let's start with Honorable Mkhalipi.
No, thanks, Chair. Mayor and the team, the issue of water, eThekwini, and the issue of the DSW, I didn't hear you properly how to address that, because it's a huge concern. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I would just like the municipal manager to possibly indulge us here. The water and electricity losses that we are talking about here, financial year 2023-2024, 1.99 billion and 1.72 billion respectively. 2024-2025, 2.1 billion and 1.91 billion. And then I'm alluding to that, Chair, because you are speaking now to an issue where there's a billing crisis, where the billing is haywire. Now, I want to ask the municipal manager, with could this billing issue of the large variances in the billing issue that everyone is complaining about, especially with the water losses, not be connected to this problem that you have of this exorbitant water losses that the municipality is experiencing? Because the 2 billion rand per annum water losses, that's a lot, that's too much. And I would like to believe that a lot of the issues that the people are experiencing in as far as water losses are concerned emanate from that. And now the people have been asking us that, is the municipality not trying to cover their water losses by billing innocent people who have not done anything? Please indulge us on that, And then lastly, rounding up, Chair, what issues are perpetuating the non-issuance of title deeds to the residents in Trenance Park, Waterloo, Mount Moriah, Phoenix, and surrounding areas in Durban?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Let me just follow up with one of the matters. I just follow up now with this principal and said this matter still has not been resolved. It's a Durban South primary issue relating to the water bill. In December, their December bill doubled. They normally pay around 22 to 26,000. And in January, they received a bill of 56,000 when the schools were closed. So I've tried to ventilate this issue to the municipality. At some point, I think I got occupied with that. I just want you guys to follow up on it, because I don't think also it's accurate. They don't think it's accurate, because it can't be that when schools are closed, the bill doubles to 56,000. It's a public school, they don't afford literally to pay. Government is not putting through SNTs on time and all of that. The question that was not answered relates to the funded, or I may have not had, the funded vacancies currently. I said the last time I checked, around 4,000 or so on average, and this does not relate to senior posts, your general posts. I want to understand how many funded vacancies does the municipality have? And what has always puzzled me is, why is the municipality not putting an interim intervention plan to ensure that these posts are filled within a particular time frame? Because there's high unemployment, and if you speak about 4,000 households that could get a breadwinner, that would be helpful. The last quick follow-up questions relates to, thanks for the response on the sexual harassment matter. I just wanted to understand the process flow. So you're saying that the subordinate of the CM was never involved, which is the head legal as alleged. I note your response, and thank you for that. And in terms of the wife of the CFO,
Round up.
Yeah, I'm rounding up, Chair.
No debate, please, round up.
Okay, so you are saying that she was appointed before the CFO joined. I know that the CFO was once with the municipality before which joining? The first time when he was with the municipality, or the second time when he joined as the CFO?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I didn't hear the answer on the municipal disaster management grant. The 1.53 billion received in March 2023.
Sorry.
How much has been spent?
Just pull your thing a bit closer.
My apologies, Chair. Then the point I was trying to make is very simple, and I'm trying to be helpful. When you evaluate how much maintenance you need to do on your water reticulation system, you first need to value it, and then you need to assign 2% of your budget to the maintenance of that. So the question is, I wasn't able to finish. Have you valued the water reticulation system of Etigrini, which will be able to determine how much that 2% is? And then I'm arguing that if we spent that money, we wouldn't be losing the 2.5 billion rand a year. And I'm very, very grateful that you've reduced it to 52, but that's the argument I'm making. Let's spend money to save money in the long term. I'm sure you're aware, but we need to do that evaluation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Chair. Can I check with the before maybe I raise this issue, can I confirm that the two ladies at the back there are part of a delegation? May I confirm that? Those two ladies at the back, are they part of a delegation? Okay. No, I just wanted to check in terms of your organogram, because I'm worried about your composition. So how's your, in terms of senior management, if we could just clarify in terms of gender equity, how many women in terms of your composition, in terms of senior management and the second layer and so forth, because I'm worried about the composition as a Chegwini. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, that's the last time. We're going to be getting the response and then closing. Okay, please. We're 1.5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Chair. Just to follow up, my questions on the disputes was not answered. And I see that a number of members are raising various specific issues. And I think if you had a proper dispute system in place and people got responses, then we wouldn't have so many issues that are outstanding that people would raise. I think that the public needs to understand what mechanism you have in place and whether they will be able to get some sort of response, because there's too many issues and disputes that have been lodged for a number of years and have had no response. So I think that is something fair that we are asking of the municipality. Thank you.
Thank you. May we have the responses?
Yes, no, thank you very much. And I must say that the debt relief incorporated a dispute resolution mechanism as part of that. And in the first debt relief, I was integrally
Your mic is a
involved.
bit distant.
Thank you very much. In the first relief early in the year, because we had to reintroduce it because of the take-up was too low. I was part of that process where we took our staff right down to halls, different halls, Sizakala centers, that if you, here we have a relief, but if you are still disputing your bill, there's the person to go to who must look at your matter. And the good thing is that at that time, you would have all the services provided. And if you don't receive joy from this one, you move to the next one, you'll be referred to the next person and so forth. And of course, not all issues were resolved. I think there's one that the chair has actually raised. Not all issues were resolved, but that then remains for our team to isolate and then develop a specific response to some of these matters. The issue that the chair is raising will fall into that one. And there's another one that was raised about the school doubling the bill. So sometimes we are quick to say the bill has doubled. And forget that before you look at your bill, that's what I normally do. I go to my meter. I knew that my meter last month, this was the record. This month, this is the record. And I monitor my meter. And I can tell you when there's a spike. If there's a spike, there's going to be a spike in the bill. Now, instead of people also going to check their meters, they simply just complain about the spike. And they only get satisfied when we take them to their meter and then give them the rundown of how their meter has been performing over time. And you'll be surprised, most of the school principals don't know where the meters of the schools are. You go to a school, you ask principal, show me where the water meter is. It doesn't know, but it's complaining about high bills. I'll leave it at that. And maybe the next point that I wanted to raise, and when I said the matter, I think there's a question of their subordinate, whether the subordinate were involved. Of course, when it comes to signing documents, appointing a service provider, I will not get involved. It will be, I will be assisted by a member of staff to do that job. But the whole process was supervised myself, and I handled it. Except insofar as it relates now to entering into procurement processes, as it were. And the issue keeps coming back on the cleanliness. I think there's a comment that says, "eThekwini ngcolile." You show me the area that is dirty, you would say, give you my number. As you leave, send me the message, I'll go there just to see it myself. And I'm not saying we are squeaky, I'm not sure if it's a term, squeaky clean. I'm not saying that. There will be pockets where you'll find problems, but we are like a saint who keeps trying. We are really trying our best to resolve the problem. There's a question that was raised by Honorable Kalipi on water and DSW and how we are addressing that problem. Maybe let's come back to you in writing because we thought we were dealing with that issue. For example, on the water, the non-revenue water, colleagues keep going back to it. I think the best way of satisfying this committee as a chairperson is when, for example, we say we have metered all water that goes to KwaXimba, and then come back and say KwaXimba cost us this much. Of the water that we are giving them, this is how much revenue we are getting from them. And we meter all the rural water that was the bulk water was supplying to rural areas. And the team is working on that metering program. The same thing with the informal settlement. We must meter them, even if we know we will not get any money from it. It will also assist to monitor if, say, at night there was a flow of water. We can then go back and say, if water was flowing at night, it means that there's a leak somewhere and we are then able to intervene. So those are the steps we are taking, colleagues. There is money now available to meter all those places, and we're also replacing household meters that are 50 years and above. And because they are also failing, we're also replacing industrial meters that are 5 years and above because they are also failing. Those are the steps we've taken to address this problem. And there's a huge pipe that we are building at 1.2 billion rand. It crosses from Reservoir Hills to Westville, to Queenstown, to Umlazi, to Folweni, Chatsworth, and so forth. It services 1.2 million people. It's 1.2 billion rand. And I went there, I checked it, the progress. As if that pipe we are able to deliver it on time. I will come back. When I come back here, I will be telling you a different story. We are replacing a 70-year-old pipe, concrete pipe, and it had a lifespan of 50 years, but we stretched it beyond that, but we are working on it. It was a function of resources. So that's a southern aqueduct. We've also fixed the northern aqueduct as well. So we're now addressing the reticulation from our aqueduct to the household. We are replacing valves. There's a program to replace valves, so that because some valves are also failing us. But the elephant in the room is that water we are being kept to the agreed upon water level, but at least we're having a discussion with water. I thought I should, maybe do you have a plan to eliminate informal settlement? Kabaze, there are shack lots, shack lots. There are shack lots. And people who are making money out of this business. Even when you remove people, Kabaze, You take them, you deliver them to a newly built house. Then the following day, there's a new person in that shack. Even if you destroy it, and at night they will rebuild the shack. Sometimes it's got to be, and unless themselves, yes, people want to be assisted, but there are people who are mining shacks for money. So it doesn't matter how much you do about the people who are on shacks right now. You remove them. But the shacks never disappear. I'm sure you know stories. We build houses, but the numbers keep growing. Well, like I said, people are attracted to the city, and they end up in shacks, and there's nothing we can do with it, except that we must keep trying. In fact, we are not in Durban, we are dealing with a moving target, because people keep coming. Every day we get new people coming to the city. Where do they stay? They stay in those shacks. The majority go into those shacks. So for as long as the city does well, it will remain attractive to new people. I'm not saying we're doing that well, but as long as we do something, people will remain attractive to the city. And I thought that the team would deal with the vacant funded post and so on. That is the only matter, Chair.
I didn't hear your last issue.
A vacant funded post. There was a question about it.
That's fine. Let them deal with it. And whilst I add that, please deal with the issue of the payment of the contractors who did the pit toilets in 2019. Sure. Include that.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I'll request the CFO to start because most issues falls under him. Thank you.
Thank you. With respect to the water losses reported as an end of June 2024, that number is influenced by the estimate. So as we indicated earlier on, we are between 10 to 12% in terms of estimated account. So if our actual reading was lower in July, confirmed for June, it means our water loss that is reported as 1.9 billion is then higher than expected. However, as already indicated by Babu Mayor, there are various initiatives that are being implemented, but there is an impact as far as that is concerned. The 1.53 billion, bulk of it over 1 billion related to the roads engineering, and then the balance was for human settlement and also water and sanitation, the pipes. We spent the full amount. That's why we were saying earlier on if COCTA can assist us with more, so that we can also deal with the court order that we received in December. Regarding the pit toilet, that matter was dealt with in line with our processes. However, after we had made some payments, we then received more claims. Once those claims were being investigated, we were informed that SIU is also looking into the matter. So we put our own investigation on hold until we hear from SIU. The overall vacancy rate is about 13.3%. I think the city manager will talk to the other matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, CFO. I just want to latch very briefly on the point that His Worship has raised pertaining to the solution at Chairperson. We are engaging National Department of Human Settlements with a view to change the approach. In cities like eThekwini, where there is scarcity of land suitable for projects like human settlements, it is important that we need to start looking at densification. So we are looking at building high up and ensure that we achieve those densification levels so that our people don't end up in places like Etafuleni where they have to spend 40% of their disposable income traveling to their areas of employment. So we want to pilot it in a place like the Dakota Beach where there is already residual infrastructure from some of the factories that have closed down. So we are pushing this very hard because it is also about integrating our communities. It is also in keeping with our spatial development framework. And that is what we believe should be the solution going forward. Serviced sites with some basic planning and building control requirements, we are also looking at that so that we move away from providing houses on the periphery of the city. The issue of the non-issuance of title deeds, there are many reasons why that is the case, but the main ones relate to the issues of the deceased estate, where the families do not agree about who should be the heir to that particular estate, and that is responsible for a huge chunk. But then you have those that are affected by town planning issues, where people have gone and built extensions and the services also have been impacted. So we have a program that we are implementing to try to ensure that we trace these people as far as we possibly can do. We go to the radio stations, we write to the print media to try to invite people so that we hand over those particular title deeds to them. Then the issue of the funded vacancies in the municipality, I think the CFO has specifically spoken to that. We've got 24,750 employees in the city. Those positions that are vacant amount to about 3,400. They are funded. That honorable member represents 12.2%. According to the National Treasury norms, the norm is 12% of the total post, where it is advisable that you can keep some of them funded but not filled. Why would you keep some posts funded but not filled? There could be a number of reasons. One of them is that there is no immediate need for that particular position, or you are still doing productivity analysis, or you have just done the restructuring and you have not completed some of the levels, and therefore you want to wait and see instead of allocating that particular budget. That's why National Treasury allows a norm of 12%. And the last point is that government is not through employment of staff. That is not the way to solve job challenges. Local government has a responsibility to provide a conducive environment for local economic development, which will lead to job creation. So we can't solve the unemployment crisis by swelling the rents of government institutions. So that's why it is important that we are considering. Otherwise, we will bankrupt the municipality, Honorable Chair. I think the dispute mechanism on bills, did you, please?
Yeah, no, my apologies for that. There is a credit control policy. In terms of that credit control policy, there is a dispute mechanism. If a consumer has got a query on the bill, he is expected to, or she is expected to complete a dispute form, and he or she must indicate as to which amount is being disputed and the reason. The matter then is investigated. As I've said earlier on, we've got 7 days to deal with the matter. However, if it's complex, it takes longer than 7 days. Thank you.
Just one last thing, Chair, from the Honourable Member about the gender composition in the senior management. At Executive Director level, including the city manager, we've got 9 positions, only 2 of which are occupied by females. This is one area where we are not proud notwithstanding us having done well in the levels below, but at senior executive levels, we have failed woefully to be able to balance those particular targets, and there are many reasons for that. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
No, that doesn't end there. It ends when you tell us how you're going to address it.
Yes, I can, Chairperson. I was just mindful of time.
No, I didn't say there's a time problem. I say you must respond.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you. One of the things that we are doing, we've got a skills development program where we are targeting the employment of females in those particular positions. One example that comes to mind is in the area of building control and engineering. If you look at the levels below, today in eThekwini, the first African engineer in eThekwini is a female. Because of being aware that we need to be able to do that. The first African supply chain head, well, it's the second one, is the female. But insofar as the building control is concerned, we have identified those that we can take from tertiary institutions, incubate for 24 months to become the building inspectors, and we try by all means to push and ensure that we accommodate them when employment is concerned. Even when a promotion comes, we look from that particular core so that we ensure that over time we balance it out.
Okay. You know, your program is fine, but your argument is not correct. You cannot tell me that when you were appointed, and a few years before you were appointed, there would have been no female who has got the level of qualification equal to yours and equal to those who are senior colleagues of yours. So it cannot be that you still want to go to kindergarten, build them up, and then ultimately introduce them. Something was wrong in your recruitment process. That's what the fault is. It's not whether you've actually got some who are at a tertiary level institution who are being trained as engineers, getting cum laude in the university, and therefore they'll be parachuted up. That's not the issue. The issue is that at this point, there are people who actually are of the requisite skills who are female. So I don't think that the solution you're bringing is a solution for this level. It's an ongoing program of supporting gender parity in the institution. But what you are explaining is somewhere down at that level management and lower. But it's not about this senior level. I think you need to go and look into it. I don't think we want to debate it. I'm just simply saying that your response is not accurate in relation to what you are solving as a problem. Because it creates an impression that you looked all over, you couldn't even recruit one, you couldn't find one. So I think when we deal with it, you must understand that the policy imperatives are actually serious to implement. You cannot come back and give an explanation that is not accurate, because it's not correct that you could have gone around and found no one. You can go around anywhere. There are top female managers with different levels of competency. So I think we mustn't be given an answer that creates an impression that we don't know what we're talking about. So it does need to be addressed, and I think we need to be at that point and not create an impression that, well, we've tried our best, there are no women. If you said that in 1993, 94, we could be excused, even though that was an excuse. So I'm saying your response is not helpful as such. Let's bring this matter to a closure, colleagues. Firstly, there's been a request here from the committees that we must get a list of the investigations that you have undertaken, both from point of view of general corruption that you pick up as well as UIFW, and therefore give us information about what has been acted upon, what are the consequence management, what has been dealt with in internal disciplinary process and what has been dealt with in criminal justice system. When you've done that, you'll obviously share it, and it must go via the provincial leadership. The MM says he has no idea what is the situation with the business permits for illegal immigrants. That was a question. You're going to have to investigate that and give us an answer, so that it must not be we don't know. The members just want to know what is happening, because there's a flourishing of informal traders, and we want to know how many of them are actually illegal. Then the other issue which was raised, although I'm not sure, I'm going to request that the member should provide you with additional information. There is an issue of the homeless, the behavior of some of the homeless in the streets. I'm not sure what he's talking about. You did say you don't understand it. I do understand why you raise it. You don't have the details of it. So the member, I can't recall who was this, who raised this issue. All right. When you remember, you'll give us the details. I can't recall which of the members. I will check that. Then the other issue I've said, we still, Mayor, I would like you to relook at the issue of this billing. There's an increasing concern that we might be dealing here with a shortcut to trying to recover the huge bill of water losses. And it's, each time you listen, it sounds very much more like that. Now, you have raised an issue of people who don't check the meters, and therefore they complain about the increase in the billing. We wanted to address a situation of people who know the billing and are actually contesting your reading. And in that situation, we are actually thinking that your members should not just, fudge it by saying we've checked, we fine, because people who have got they've got pictures of the readings. Those readings are what they've got as a record, and the issue therefore is something needs to be done to check. And these members here, from the first visit we had, Honorable Mkhalibi raised this question that we're having what looks like a retrospective correction of the billing, the undercharging which you did, and in this case, looks like you've got a huge water losses, and in the process, you've now got to try and cover the gap. And we just want to know that it is fair. And in this case, it sounds like there's a concern there. So having said that, I do want us to focus on the issues raised by the Auditor General. The first issue that they raised was around infrastructure project delivery, referring to a number of projects where there was incomplete projects, and yet a lot of time has passed, and that of course you have a rise in costs, and members have indicated that that's one area of concern. The other area was something relating to conflict of management, and this is a situation where your supply chain management regulation do prohibit the awarding of contracts and accepting quotations from employees. That matter needs to be given attention. The billing inaccuracies we have raised already. The water and electricity losses have also been flagged by the Auditor General. When we meet next, we need to be able to say, you can show us how you have got all of these matters addressed. Non-compliance with environmental management legislation, irregular expenditure, all of these have been dealt with. Vacancies in technical department, and here they were talking about 58% vacancy rate, and I thought that the MM would target those vacancies to actually correct this issue, and I want to suggest that it's one area that you need to look at. Then the other issue of shortcomings in the accountability ecosystem, and this was figuring the mayor having to be more proactive in dealing with reports that must go to focus on the issues raised by the Auditor General and forcing the system to be able to respond to those. And then there were other specifics which I suppose you've dealt with them in some of the responses. This one was relating to grooming staff whilst the residents were waiting for services, and then there was also the issue of the court order on the sewage crisis that needs to be addressed. So all of these issues are part of what we should call the post-audit action plan that we believe you need to then submit so that the MECs should have a look at them and oversee and supervise them, and at the end of it we should be able to see that there is progress, movement forward with regard to that. Having said so, colleagues, thank you very much. Let me then say we thank you for your presentation and your responses. And to the honorable members, we have come to the end of the session for today. We will resume tomorrow with the next set of municipalities, and we will be convening here at 8 o'clock to start with Ugu District, followed by Amajuba, followed by Newcastle, followed by Utubela, and hopefully we should be able to move them on time. Let me just plead with the members. We want to try as much as possible to accommodate everyone within the time that is allocated, and therefore we do want to be strict on time to try and make sure that these members don't overshoot. We've had the experience of having to work right up to midnight to actually try and complete the task for that particular province, but in this case we want to try and keep to that time as we had indicated. Honorable members, this brings us to the end of this meeting, and the session is adjourned. Thank you very much. Bye.